President Akufo-Addo has described as shocking and painful the death of a member of Parliament for the Agyarko West Wuogon constituency, Emanuel Agyarko. The late MP died on Wednesday in the United States, where he was receiving medical treatment for an undisclosed ailment. The president, early Wednesday morning, led a government delegation to the home of the late MP. Addressing a mini deba at Krobo as part of his tour of the Eastern region, President Akufo-Addo described Mr. Agyarko as a strong pillar in the MPP.
He's from Manya Krobo. He's a Krobo. He's a member of Parliament for Agyarko West Wuogon. Emanuel Agyarko, a stalwart of the MPP and a very important member of Parliament, died suddenly yesterday in the United States of America. Came as a big shock because it was so premature. So I had to go to his home in Accra. It was all part of our program to pay my sympathies. And that is why I came late. And I'm craving your indulgence, your understanding, and also to join me in standing up a minute's silence in his memory.
The late MP's brother, former Energy Minister Agyarko, chronicles his last days on earth.
Knowing him and knowing the rest of us, knowing our beginnings and where we've come from, and knowing him particularly that he loves life and enjoys the use of it, it would not have been his wish to be kept on life support, just hanging in there for whatever God knows what. So Tuesday, today is what, Thursday? Tuesday midnight, the situation started unraveling very quickly. Stabilized, then it unravels again for the whole of Tuesday. The Wednesday at dawn is when he suffered a consistent decline. And at one point, there was really nothing medicine could do. If anything had to be, that was going to be done, it was his own creator intervening and saying, Talita Kumi. God does his things his way. That didn't happen. So around 1:23, doctors came around, took away the life support systems. And in very short order, as soon as the tubes were taken off, he passed. Which is about almost 7 o'clock here, 7 p.m. here. So that is our situation here. Once I talked to the doctors and they gave me confirmation of pronouncement, I tried to reach speaker, and his phone was off, and I just guessed that he was out of town, because apart from talking to my own family, he is a member of a very distinguished and august body, and protocol requires that they be informed, however informal it is.
Emanuel Agyarko would have turned 61 years on December 10. His eldest son, Daniel Agyarko, described the father as a very special man.
So, yesterday, as of around 7 p.m., we received a call from a close family member that our father, Emanuel Agyarko, had passed on. He had family with him at the time, and he had been fighting a short illness. he had begun to get his treatment at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, but had to go and get further attention from the United States. We appreciate the love and the condolences and the thoughts and the prayers that have been sent so far, and we are mourning the loss of a very special man. We thank you. We appreciate it. We would, with time, we would announce any details to the public. For now, we are just trying to keep each other.
Tributes, meanwhile, continue to pour in for the late MP. National Chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, and the Energy Minister, John Peter Amu, have been eulogizing him.
A very jovial, extremely engaging personality. He's a nice guy to be with. He's a good representative of his constituency. He's a family man, nice man. I'm personally very, very sorry and very extremely devastated that this man serving his community has just passed away.
Clearly a big loss for the party.
It's a big blow to the party. Not just a loss, a big blow to the party.
Well, the gentleman working for you by name, that's how we call each other, has been a very good friend. We go beyond politics. It's a mentor, a father. It's a man who thinks not only of today but future, good advisor. And we lost something great, especially in this party. The way he fought for the constituency, managed to take the constituency a number of times. It's something that, in fact, I can't just mention what this party is losing at this very painful period of our time.
How did the news hit you?
Well, it was quite surprising. The wife called me around 5:30 yesterday. And in fact, I was aware about the illness right down from Kolebu when he was flown to the United States of America. So we've been following development. But yesterday, when we got the news after 5 o'clock, it was quite shocking and surprising.
Mr. Agyarko was elected MP for the Agyarko West Wuogon constituency in 2012 and won re-election in the last election. His colleague MPs say they are yet to come to terms with his demise.
For the past 3 weeks, I've been on the move with him. We attended, various conferences, Ghana and outside Ghana. The last one was in Egypt. And then we came to Ghana and were supposed to go to, in fact, we went to the US for the UN conference. And he was very active, very, very active. And even where he was staying, he was coming to the conference on foot. I mean, there was nothing to show that there was something wrong with him. And then on the 13th, we were supposed to go to Egypt for another program. When I was ready, I called him and he told me, he was not feeling too well and that he was going for a checkup. But he didn't really tell, in his speech. I mean, there was nothing to show that he was somebody who could pass on in less than a week after talking to him.
Very, very sad. I must say I am close to Honorable Agyarko. I can call him one of my friends in Parliament. We do have a lot of discussions. The news of his demise came last night and I couldn't believe it. I kept saying maybe it's fake news until this morning when it became clear. It's such a, it just dawned on me if this is our fate. It is just that one after the other, we're all going to depart this way. It's very sad. I can't come to terms with the fact that I know people die and other things, but sometimes it's difficult to prepare for something like this, and not, especially in the case where he's never told me he's got even a toothache or anything. So for me to be told he died of sickness, then when was he sick? Well, how come he denied us, his friends, that, oh, my brothers, I'm not well or something like that? It's very sad.
Now, the seat occupied by the late MP is expected to be declared vacant once the Speaker is formally informed of his death. The Electoral Commission will then have to organize a parliamentary by-election within 30 days when it is informed of the development. It will be the first by-election under the Kufuor administration, giving the other parties an opportunity to grab the seat. MP for Kumbungu, Ras Mubarak, however, wants the NDC to stay out of the contest. He puts this up on his Facebook page, and we're going to be sharing that with you right about now. He says, I do not think the NDC or any other party should put up a candidate for Honorable Emanuel Agyarko's vacant seat. We should have a convention or agreement amongst ourselves that if a sitting MP dies, the party from which he was an MP should select a candidate to serve his remaining term. It saves the country and the party's resources. Democracy can be made less expensive. It all depends on us. Well, joining us on phone right now is Dr. Franklin Odro. He's the head of research at Governance Think Tank CDD, and we're going to be speaking with him about this suggestion coming from the Kumbungu MP. Good evening to you, Dr. Odro.
Good evening to you, Israel.
All right. So what do you make of this suggestion coming from the Member of Parliament for Kumbungu? He's saying that we should probably have a convention where when an MP dies, his seat is not contested by the other parties, and that you just leave it, you just cede it to the party that he represented to elect one person, a representative to it.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that there's some merit in the argument being made by Honorable Mubarak. I think if you recall, the same arguments have been made in the past, especially when we have to conduct by-elections 6 months or 1 year to general elections. And concerns have been raised as to the burden of cost and time that parties have to go through and then go have elections, and then 6 months' time they go have general elections. So if you consider the cost of election, and indeed the cost of Ghana's election is so high and keeps rising, and consider the fact that the party or the constituency was being held by that party, then there's some legitimacy, some merit in the argument that Honorable Mubarak is making. But we also have to consider that the structure of our electoral politics, our election, is that voters vote for candidates. They don't necessarily vote for parties. And therefore, you have to give the opportunity to voters to really exercise that franchise and make that choice, whether they really would want to continue to have the kind of candidates that the party would want to impose. I think we need to look at that side of the argument. The argument or the suggestions from Honorable Mubarak is not new. If you go to some states in the United States of America, there's a common practice that a party that is holding a particular Senate seat, if the person dies, like John McCain, the late John McCain died, we had a Republican Party who took over that seat for the remaining period. Yeah.
So indeed, there have been instances here in Ghana where there has been an MP has died, and the other parties decide that we'll just leave it to that MP or to that party to, take over the seat.
Yeah. So, but that's a gentleman's argument. And of course, sometimes the parties that say we are not going to contest also know that even if they go to contest, they might not win anyway, because that seat or constituency might be a stronghold of that party. And if you look at if they consider the voting turnout in the past and they realize that, well, we are not really going to, really contest, then why do we spend money to go do that? And therefore, they will say that we are not going to contest. But if it's a hotly contested constituency, it's a constituency that can go either way, then you are denying the opportunity for the other party to perhaps bring a candidate that the voters in that constituency will want to decide on. And so, as much as what the Honorable is saying, has some legitimacy, I think we also have to look at the other side of the voters' preference and the voters' choice. But I am a bit sympathetic to that argument of Honorable Mubarak, and I will qualify that especially if that by-election is going to take place 6 months, 1 year before the election. And in that case, then I think we can conveniently make that kind of argument. But of course, this is an idea that has been thrown out, and collectively as citizens of this country, we can debate and see if that is something that we want to go for. But I think it's important, always important to consider the role and the place of the voter when we are making this kind of decision. Because it's true that a particular MP or a particular party is holding a particular seat, but it may be true that the next time we go for election, that party may not hold that seat again.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Franklin Yodro is head of research at Governors Think Tanks, CDD. Now, Accra is cleaner. That's according to the mayor of Accra when he addressed congregants of the Church of Pentecost on Thursday. It was the launch of the church's environmental care campaign, which seeks to mobilize its 2.6 million members to help clean every part of the country they find themselves. The campaign is supported by waste management firm Zoom Lion and Pan-African Bank, EcoBank. Nancy Agyarko was there and has come through with this report.
2.6 million sanitation campaigners, 500 bins, $10 million EcoBank cash support, and an ambitious recycling plan to keep the country clean. The Church of Pentecost, headed by the chairman, Apostle Eric Nyamiche, noted that the church had a significant contribution to a cleaner city.
Also seek to educate our members and the general public on the existing environmental bylaws. Additionally, we have produced 300,000 brochures on environmental care to be used in the public education. We are confident that the upcoming endeavor will bring to bear on the general public the need to consciously collaborate with governments, law enforcement agencies, and waste management companies to ensure clean and healthy environment.
The CEO of Jospon Group of Companies, Joseph Sianwe Japon, charged government to view waste as a natural resource which has the capabilities of generating wealth, just like cocoa and crude oil.
Dubai took waste management as very serious. Today, look at their country, a desert, but very beautiful. Mauritius, Kigali, everybody's going there. When you take it as a serious resource, and you see, there's nothing called waste. From what you generate, everything can be recycled and turned over. And when the minister said about it, so it's a resource. So take care of it. So I don't want to term it as waste so that your mind tells to throwing it off, but as a value and as one of your natural resource God has given you. Take care of it.
The mayor of Accra, Mohammed J. Sowa, proudly touted that Accra is cleaner now than 2 years ago.
We came to meet in Accra over 40 heaps of refuse-sized mountains of refuse. Today in Accra, we have cleared more than 35 of them, and you cannot see the huge mountains of refuse in Accra that it used to be before His Excellency the President was made the President of this country.
His statement was, however, greeted with murmurs. After the event, we went to the street to find out if Accra was indeed cleaner.
It's poto. Dirty. Look the road. You go disappointing me. Why? 2020, you go see Bobo.
I'm not sure Accra is clean because you could see that Kaneshi, there's a lot of scent here. There's a lot of dirt also here. Bola is everywhere.
It's not true. I don't think so because still there are rubbish around. As you can see, there are still rubbish and everything around.
Meanwhile, Sanitation's minister has hinted her ministry is engaging industry players on the possibility of banning plastics. Nancy Agyarko, Joy News.
Well, has Accra become cleaner? We have been joined on the live telephone now by former Executive Secretary of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, Benjamin Arthur, to interrogate this view. Good evening to you. Now, the Accra Mayor says Accra is cleaner than it was in 2016 and 2017. As a consultant in water and sanitation, do you share this view?
Well, I don't know the criteria based on which he's saying that. Probably when he came as a mayor, he gave certain indicators, and he thinks he's meeting those indicators.
Well, he indicates that there were several heaps of refuse all over, and he has reduced them, or it has been reduced significantly.
Significance is relative.
All right.
It's relative, and therefore, that's what I was saying. Probably when he came, he saw that, but you and I know what is happening on the street.
Well, as has been borne out by some of the residents we've been speaking with.
Yes. And lifting huge refuse is not an end in itself. Where do you send it? How is it managed? How is it treated? How is it sorted? These are the value chain processes are all very crucial. Go to the market. Last week, 2 weeks, we had a conference, and the private sector providers were there. We're saying, yes, they are doing their best, but what takes the resources that they require to enable them to do the work, they are not. So they are doing what they can do based on the resources that they have. So, yes, you may have cleaned 1 or 2 places. It doesn't mean the whole Accra is cleaner than what he came to me. I don't agree. I don't agree with him.
How would you rate the effort he has put in so far, or the work that has been done so far?
Well, I'll give you about, 50%. They've done about 50% of the work. The fact that yes, they have been there where they used to be a pile of refuse one, but it's not easy. That's my challenge. That you say you have reduced. What is the reduced drastically? That you say. Is it so? It's like you are setting your own question, you are marking it.
Yeah.
And therefore, but you and I know when you go around all the marketplaces, because one of the challenges Zoom Lion is facing is that in the marketplaces, the market women are expected to pay for the refuse they generate in a Boso kind area. They are supposed to pay. But when they go, the people don't pay. And if they don't pay, they don't collect. That's why you go to those places and you see those refugees around. It means they are not paying and therefore they are not collecting. So the refugees are still piling up. So as a mayor, what do? You don't come and say you have cleaned Accra, whilst in the marketplace where it is critical for us to keep clean, we still live in debt. Because it's forgotten that the debt that we generate around that area follows through the food chain. We bring them to our houses, and the consequence in terms of the disease are all there. So it's not enough to say Accra. Which part of Accra is clean? You should tell us where. Where is he referring to?
All right, thank you very much, Benjamin Arthur. Benjamin Arthur is the former executive secretary of the Coalition of NGOs in Sanitation and Water. We're taking a break here now. Police in Kumasi have arrested 2 suspects in the stabbing to death of a final year business student of the Fujasi Senior High Commercial School in the Ashanti region. The 2 who were arrested at their hideouts at Feyase and in the Bosumtwe district reveal they have had sleepless nights since they committed the crime last September. They confessed to attempting to travel outside the country but have been restrained by ghost of their victim. Inshira FM's Oheming Teria has the latest on this arrest, and he joins me on the phone. Now, Inshira, tell us more about this arrest.
The 2 suspects who have been picked up by police are Emanuel Otu, alias Lincoln, age 22, and one Emanuel Agyarko, also age 20. He's also called Asian. According to the Fujasi police, Emmanuel Otu is the man who pulled scissors and stabbed the late Derek J., a Form 3 business student of the Fujasi Senior High Commercial School in September this year. He has already been buried. 4 than 6 suspects have been picked up, including 4 current students and 2 dismissed students of the same school. Police believe these 2 suspects hold the key to the investigations as far as the death of this student is concerned. Superintendent Agyarko, who is the Fujasi District Commander, tells me upon the arrest of the suspects, they confessed that they had made several attempts to travel outside the country. They were prevented on several occasions by the ghost of the disease that they stabbed there for September 26. But he says police does not believe in spiritualism. They wouldn't want to dwell so much on this, even in court. They can't argue their case out. All that they know is that police spend time investigating and then chasing these suspects. The two has been put before the Jobbing Circuit Court, where 20-year-old Emanuel Agyarko has been granted bail. But Emanuel, alias Lincoln, who is believed to have stabbed disease to death, has been remanded into prison custody, Israel.
Now, Ohemi, I'm quite curious about how the ghost prevented them from traveling outside of the country. Did they provide any further detail?
Yes, they did. They told police how the ghost would not even allow them to sleep. They had nightmarish experiences, several instances that they made attempt to sleep, and before they could say Jack, they are seeing the ghost and asking them to surrender, go all the way to Jase and tender themselves in police to face the full rigors of the law. So these are the accounts of the suspects to police, and police believe that for them, all that they know is they're doing scientific investigations. Since in Ghana, there are no avenues to prove such cases in court. All that they know is that the suspects have, confessed to in the disease, who has killed a school friend or with a colleague to watch a football match in town. Just that they were attacked just at the edge of the school's FM store. So yes, they have been given information and details how the ghost has been haunting them. But for now, they are in the grip of the law.
All right, thank you very much, Ohemi Teria, bringing us that update. Moving on, the Teshi Salem Presbyterian Basic School has been without a toilet for years, so pupils are forced to openly defecate at the Teshi beach. The Jokuku Krowo Municipal Assembly has built a toilet for the school, but for several months, the toilet has not been in use. We understand the MC for Lekma Evelyn Chum Jamra wants to organize a ceremony before opening the toilet for the pupils to use. We have her on the telephone line now to tell us more. Thank you very much, Evelyn Chum Jamra. Now, for how long should the pupils defecate at the beach before you commission this new toilet facility?
Even today, I talked to the Gamma coordinator. They constructed the institutional toilet at the schools. And I was told handing over of the keys to the assembly will be done on Monday. And then thereafter, on Thursday, the commissioning of the toilet will take place.
When were the toilets completed?
I think it was completed in about a month ago.
A month ago, and yet you felt that you had to wait for that long before it made available for use by them. Couldn't it have been used whilst they were, and probably do the commissioning later?
Yes, recently I had the school authorities. They were giving me pressure to open the toilet for the pupils to use.
Yes.
Because, yes, to use. So I contacted the coordinator for the institutional toilet. And what he told me was, on Monday, the education director, together with myself, the contractors, will do the handing over to the assembly so that on Thursday we do the commissioning. Not only that school, but the other schools.
All right, so what you're saying is that there are indeed several schools that have their toilets completed, but they're not using them because you would have to wait for it to be commissioned first. But the question I'm asking is, couldn't it have been possible for them to be allowed to use them and then the inauguration or commissioning is done later?
Yeah, I suggested that to the Gamma coordinator.
And what did he say?
And, but
yes,
I suggested that to him because of the pressure.
And what did he say?
Authorities. And he told me that next week, Monday, the contractors will have to hand the keys over to the assembly so that on Thursday the commissioning can be done. But I think on Monday, when the keys are handed over to the assembly, I think they can start using it.
All right.
On Monday.
All right. Thank you very much, Evelyn Jamra, who is the MC for LECMA. Now, a resident of Abokobi, Elias Ojo Ejete, was shot in the head by the police on May 24, 2018, sending the bullet from one side of his face to the other. But against all odds, he survived to tell his story. We bring you an excerpt of his story put together in a hotline documentary titled As If We Weren't Human, which airs Monday, November 26, 2018.
I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, just like you.
Next stop, Abokobi Akpoman in Accra.
Being, oh, I be human being, oh, oh, just like you, just like you.
Elias Ojo Ajete Anum nearly died May 25, 2018. He survived gunshot through his head. Currently, he is paralyzed and cannot speak clearly. So his wife, Deborah, narrates his story. She said Elias had a disturbance in the community, so he went there to find out. Her husband discovered that the police had arrested their relative, so he tried to plead with them. The bullet penetrated one side and went through the other.
Oh, well, guys, I come by bola keshi. I shoot to in. But like, well, I'm a fan of me. I could show come in. Secondly, when a sister na kele chombo a picture me. A husband honey. Wo ke ya bia keshi minisani. Ke like sani ko no pa ye mam. Ko na sort sani out. But I'm a bullet we. Mafia mo crying via kesho no pa ye mama ke na kan ni, but I don't know the reason why I kesho le penny himete no na make gun shoot ele na at least for Kenya ba shoot to ponya shoot na ni alo heko ba na me shoot echu.
Elias tried to manage some few words.
Otia sta kanele devia sakala we ebe ba na se dia weso ni nejono ejono
mene wonde shono
entra na mão me fe
na mão
arfote awana mão
His family and opinion leaders say they have reported the case to the police, but nothing has been done about it. It has been 6 months and counting.
Oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being.
In a country that was ranked the 7th dirtiest in the world in 2017 due to human activities and failure of service providers to clear waste when bins are full, a 26-year-old Ghanaian has found a solution to a major part of the problem with his smart bin application. On Tech Thursday today, we threw the spotlight on an app that sends signals to waste bin collectors when dustbins are almost full. Nancy Emefajra-Dozie has more.
how to organize the bolakars to come and take the things, they are not there. So sometimes it will be there and then it will come back to the gutter again.
Domestic waste disposal is one of Ghana's biggest problems. The streets of Accra and other major cities in the country have filth almost everywhere. Refuse containers and bins left at the shoulders of the roads and market centers, sometimes for several days.
There are always bins there. The bins are full. And whenever it gets full, they stop dumping around. Before you realize, it turns into a very big refuse dump.
26-year-old Joshua Opoku has built his first ever smart bin prototype that signals waste bin collectors when waste bins are full.
What the device does is it has a sensor here which is able to measure the distance of a volume of an object. So when you fix this at the lid of your bin, it can now measure the distance of your bin. So whenever the waste in it are coming up and it blocks the sensor, it tells you that it's full and automatically sends the location of it to the collector.
The good thing about this app is that it allows service providers to monitor in real time the status of these bins.
This is a prototype, that's why it's big. Okay. When we built the original manufactured one, it's very small, that you have to just stick at the lid of your bin. I have a screen where they can monitor all the bins that are getting full real time. Okay. So whenever it's full, just trigger alert that these bins are full. So every day you can know the number of bins that are full at a particular area.
Great. The World Bank has recently asked him to participate in Hackathon, a worldwide social coding event that brings computer programmers together. He believes it's a big step towards making his app better.
The World Bank is organizing a hackathon, so we're going to exhibit this over there and hope that they can also see the potential of it and then bring it to our homes as well. Okay.
It is the hope of Joshua Opoku to liaise with the Ministry of Sanitation to have a long-lasting solution to their problem.
It's one junction, one bowler.
Nancy MFA Jadosi, Joy News.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. Stay tuned. Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Agyarko has said the country is looking forward to opening more diplomatic missions abroad to strengthen Ghana's relations with those countries. She made this known when at an interactive session with regional deans of the diplomatic corps and the chairperson of the ECOWAS group of ambassadors in Ghana.
In 2019, we hope to continue our efforts to deepen our bilateral ties with countries in the Americas and the Caribbean. In this regard, we are working to establish a resident diplomatic mission in Mexico. Ghana is also hoping to finalize arrangements to apply for observer status of the Pacific Alliance. We believe that these initiatives will enhance Ghana's presence and visibility on the continent. Close of the year, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo will be visiting Japan to consolidate our gains in the region. In 2019, we will be engaging more countries in the region, including South Korea and Singapore, to explore further areas of cooperation.
The Ministry of Information says it will intensify its focus on the performance of state-owned enterprises and agencies in the upcoming 5th National Policy Summit. Addressing the media at the launch of the Policy Summit, Deputy Minister of Information Nana Dokuye AJ disclosed that the two-day summit, which is held every quarter, will this year provide a platform for the Ministry of Information to explain government policies, plans and activities to the citizenry and solicit feedback from the public for policy refinement. A report by Joshua Smith.
Over the years, the Ministry of Information has organized 4 different summits which tackled various issues in the various sectors of the economy. Speaking at the launch, Deputy Minister of Information Nana Dokuye AJ stated this year's summit will focus on the productivity of state-owned institutions and agencies.
It is in this regard that the Ministry of Information, in accordance with its mandate to disseminate information on government policies, plans and programs, is organizing the 5th National Policy Summit. This time, the summit will focus on the performance of state-owned enterprises and agencies on the theme, improving
performance in state-owned enterprises and agencies. The two-day summit is held every quarter and provides a platform for explaining government policies, plans, and activities to the citizenry, and also to collect feedback for policy refinement.
Chief Operating Officer of Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, Benjamin Amenuame, encouraged the general public and private sector to participate in the upcoming summit to help improve the performance of the state-owned institutions and agencies.
We therefore believe and encourage the general public, the private sector, including banks and other specialized deposit-taking institutions, friends of the media, to actively participate in these discussions so that together we can come together with clear plans and strategy that will improve the performance of the state-owned institutions and agencies. We therefore humbly encourage all of you to come to Takoradi to witness a successful national policy summit.
This year's 5th National Policy Summit, which will be attended by various chief executives and heads of selected state institutions, it is under the theme Improving Performance in State-Owned Enterprises and Agencies, and will be held under the distinguished patronage of Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo. Joshua Smith report for Joy News.
The new Israeli ambassador to Ghana, Shani Cooper, says her country is looking to explore areas of collaboration with the Ghanaian media, starting with a multimedia group. The ambassador said this when she met with management of the company earlier today. According to her, the ability of the multimedia group to embolden voices of the voiceless has attracted the attention of the Israeli government. They are therefore looking to hear more of the voices of the people through future collaborations, as the Israeli government is also expanding its embassies across the world.
I came to see a multimedia group and Joy and to look for collaboration and extend my greetings for the wonderful work that this group is doing. I think that the media in Ghana and Joy and Multimedia is part of it. It's a vibrant media. You can feel the people talking through the media, and I think that it's wonderful. The relations between Israel and Ghana are very important for Israel. Our embassy is expanding, and we're looking for good options of cooperation between Israel and Ghana. And as a part of it, we think that we should cooperate as we did in the past and as we will do in the future with the media. And that's the reason I'm here.
And our government will, in the next few days, begin full implementation of a program that will make it mandatory for every individual to own a unique tax identification number, TIN or TIN. Without it, you won't be able to access your own bank account, do mobile money, register a vehicle, or even file a case in court if your rights are abused. With the deadline approaching, how well do you know about the TIN? Do you have one? We've been speaking to some people on the streets of Accra.
Have you heard about it at all?
Yeah, I've heard about it though.
Do you know how to get one?
Yeah, I was told to, if you want one, maybe you should go to JCB. Yeah, I heard something about it.
So when do you intend to get one?
Pardon?
How soon do you intend to get one?
Well, I'm not really sure.
Are you aware of the repercussions if you fail to get one?
Yeah, I've heard it. But not now. For now, I have some things I want to do, so maybe later.
Maybe later you get a TIN. Yeah. Do you know what a TIN is? T-I-N.
Yes, please.
What is it?
A TIN. T-I-N. A TIN. Milk concours is a TIN.
Do you know of the tax identification number?
Tax identification number. Yeah, I've been seeing drinks with some stickers on them. Yeah.
So you don't know that there is this identity number that you are supposed to register for in order that will help you to have a bank account, among other things?
No idea. I have no idea.
You've not heard about it at all?
Heard of Ghana card, but then no identity or anything. I don't know of anything.
So this is the first time you're hearing of the tin?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You know what a tin is?
No, I don't know.
It's a tax identification number. Have you heard about that?
No, I've not heard anything about that.